Ladies, gentlemen and graduands, welcome to this Birmingham City University Awards ceremony. This is a formal ceremony, but we do want you all to enjoy yourselves. Please clap and cheer as loudly as you can, and feel free to take photographs whilst making sure you don't block the view of those around you. We want to make sure every family can see their graduate cross the stage without any disturbance, so we would ask everyone to follow these 3 points. Please turn all mobile phones to silent. Please remain in the hall until the ceremony has been closed. And if young children get restless, please see your nearest door steward, who will show you to a viewing room where you and your child can still see the ceremony. Now, as the processions enter the hall, please stand.
I declare this congregation open. Please be seated. I preside over this ceremony as Chancellor of the University, an office which is held by each Lord Mayor of Birmingham, and I'm delighted to have this opportunity to participate in such a wonderful celebration of our students' achievements. I now call upon the Vice-Chancellor to give the opening address.
Chancellor, Lady Mayoress, Pro-Chancellor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, our graduands. As Vice-Chancellor of the University, I'm absolutely delighted to welcome you all to this morning's awards congregation. It's great to see so many of you here with your friends and your families in what I hope you all agree is such a special setting to celebrate our students' achievements this morning. One of the great pleasures I have leading a university is to participate in these ceremonies. We have a range of them over the next few days because this is very much what we're all about. From the day that you applied to study with us, everything we've done together has been leading to this moment today. It's a day where we can celebrate the completion of your studies and your success to date. This year, well, certainly 2014, I should say, was very much my first full academic year as Vice-Chancellor of Birmingham City University. And what a year it's been for the university. We opened our new Parkside building over a year and a half ago, which I know some of you have been able to use. And then we started construction on our further new building down in the East Side area called the Curzon building, which will open this September, allowing many more of our schools to transfer into that new city centre site. We launched the Birmingham City University International College, which brought international students into the university, and this is located down in Bourneville, and many of them now have started to progress across into the main university as well throughout the past year. We sponsored our first school, City Road Primary Academy, under the Birmingham City University Academies Trust, again contributing to the education of this city. And we held our inaugural Inspired Festival, showcasing the creative work of many of our students studying on creative and cultural industry courses. And we continue to expand our students because your university, BCU, continues to be an ever more popular choice for students wanting to come here and to pursue their university education. And one of the other highlights for me personally over the course of the last year was our Extra Mile Awards, and working alongside students to create those Extra Mile Awards, because it was very much a scheme to recognise staff and students who had made that exceptional contribution to the university community. And you can read much more about those in your programme, which you have this morning. Now, while you were completing your studies over the course of the last year, we also set out our vision for where we want to be as a university in 2020. And a cornerstone of that vision is transformation. We will hope to transform your university. We'll transform practice through the research and knowledge transfer that we engage in with businesses, the community, and the professions. We'll also transform or contribute to transforming this city and the wider region through the contribution we can make to its economic regeneration. And we'll also transform you, our students. And in many ways, as you walk across this stage this morning, you'll be the living embodiment of that transformation because of the transformation that I hope has taken place in your lives over your studies with us. Graduates, this is very much your day. It's a day to reflect on your time as a student, the experiences of your studies and indeed of your personal life while you were with us. It's also a day to celebrate the things you've learned and the friendships you've made. It's very much a day to really feel proud of yourselves for what you have achieved. It's also a day to look forward. Today's not just about the end of your studies, but it's about the beginning of the next chapters of your lives. And as you move on to new things, we're of course fully aware of the challenges that the current climate present to you. It is a difficult and quite a challenging environment in the workplace and in the professions. But we know that you are prepared to meet those challenges. I think that the skills that you now have are very much a product of your university's distinctive focus on professional and creative practice. We set out not just to give you the knowledge, but also the practical and real-world experience that you will also experience when you do go into work, and as many of you now have. And we're very proud at BCU of our applied and practice-based form of higher education. We believe it's relevant to the needs of society, our employers, and of course, you, our students and graduates. And of course, many of you have experienced that real-world experience as a result of your practice placements during your period of study with us. And your experience has also been informed by our highly applied, often world-leading research undertaken by many of my colleagues on the platform here this morning. It's been co-designed and shaped by the very employers and practitioners who you will go on to work with in your careers. But also it's been shaped by you. Your university, BCU, is nationally recognised for the high levels of engagement that we have with students. We believe that you have a major contribution to make to shaping your studies. So what I'd like to do this morning as well is to thank you for your contribution to the university. You've helped shape our courses, you've helped shape our thinking, and we've responded and tried to respond to the comments that you've made. So thank you for all that you've put in to the university and helped shape the future of your university while you've been with us. This morning we're celebrating the success of students graduating from the School of Education. And today, most of you are embarking on careers which will be challenging, but I also hope rewarding, in a sector which is now the third largest employer in the UK, and that is the education sector. Yours is a sector that is so often also in the eye of the storm of political debate and public opinion. However, the importance of education itself remains a cherished tenet of our society, and you will be part of that. Birmingham City University is now the 10th largest teacher training provider in the UK, and our expert staff, along with the real-world experience that you've gained from over your studies, will actually have a direct impact on your work with children and with practitioners. And I hope that it's given you a solid foundation for the careers that I know many of you are already pursuing within teaching and within the education sector more widely. And throughout your careers in education, you'll be balancing the needs of individual pupils with the changing winds of government policy. Many of you have already taken up teaching posts, and I hope that you're beginning to find your feet as a result. And as always in your profession, while you're on a day-to-day busy delivering the frontline service, the best way to provide that service is actually being hotly debated by others in the policy domain. You're very much focused on the delivery. But it's worth reflecting on this changing policy domain that you're part of. Just in the last school year, when it began in September last year, the Department for Education has published or updated 6 major policies in that very short time. They cover accountability and funding, raising achievement amongst disadvantaged children, increasing opportunities, increasing the number of academies and free schools, the relationship between social work and education, increasing opportunities, and improving the quality of teaching and leadership. Constant change in policy in the world of work in which you're part of. And I'm not going to dig deep into the details of these policies, or indeed the rights or wrongs, but it illustrates how your profession actually is and always will be, and that is at the heart of the political landscape. And why is it there? Well, it's there because how we educate our children is very much the bedrock of our society. And however, I do want to just touch on one a little bit in more depth, and that is the policy of improving the quality of teaching and leadership. The stated aims of that policy are to raise the status of the teaching profession, to make sure that teachers receive solid training that gives them the practical skills that they'll need. And actually, we have teachers that continue to have access to high quality professional training and development through their careers, so they can continue to improve in their professional practice. Now, that is very much the aims of Birmingham City University as well. And actually, I'd like you to think about that, how you're already making a contribution to school leadership, but also how that you may also continue to improve throughout your professions and therefore continue to come back and have some of the professional updating that we offer through our university courses as well. Throughout your career in the profession, you will need to constantly update. So think about how you do that. Think about how you continue to improve. You've now got the skills of learning to learn. Deploy those skills in enhancing your career by lifelong learning throughout your career. I'm confident that the skills you've developed during your time here will enable you to shine as you move forward. You leave us not just equipped with the talent and enthusiasm that you brought with us in the first place when you joined us, but now with the relevant knowledge, the skills, the real-world experience, and the networks of contacts that you've built up while you've been with us, and indeed now you've started working. You're all stepping out today in a world of constant change, of innovation and rapid development. But we're confident that as a result of your studies, you'll not only have the subject knowledge, but you'll have capabilities, skills, competencies to adapt in this fast-changing world. And adapt you will. And I'm sure many of you will become leaders and invent some of the future jobs in your profession as you move forward. And be confident too that the university, your university, will continue to be a part of your lives. I hope that every one of you here today, that you will continue to play a role in the university's success story. You'll continue to be part of an outstanding alumni body of this university, many of whom are already shaping the world through their unlocking of creative genius, improving health and well-being, a number who have gone on to be great leaders of schools and education institutions. We want to hear what happens to you as you move on as well. We want to hear of your success, of how you become great champions and leaders of the world and indeed of the occupations that you play a role in. So keep in touch. You'll automatically become part of the BCU Alumni Association. It's free of charge, and it's a great way of keeping in touch with us. It's also a great way of keeping in touch with all of yourselves. We want to hear about your success as you move forward. Graduates, I'm sure your successful studies will place you in great stead for whatever challenges face you as you move on to the next stage of your lives. And when you collect your certificate after crossing the stage this morning, have a little look at it, because you'll see the coat of arms of the university on the top of it. And in the coat of arms is the BCU motto, which is Age Quod Agis, which means do and be the best. So as you move on to the next stage of your lives, use that motto, do and be the best. Congratulations to you all. Enjoy this very special day. Have a great day. Thank you very much. I now call upon the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Health, Education and Life Sciences, Professor Ian Blair, to commence the presentation of award holders and on the Chancellor to receive our students.
Chancellor, as Executive Dean, I present students from the School of Education who have qualified for the award of degrees, diplomas and certificates. I commence by presenting candidates for the award of research degree. For the award of Doctor of Philosophy for a thesis entitled The Policy to Practice Context to the Delays and Difficulties on the Acquisition of Speech, Language and Communications in the First 5 Years, I present Dr. Carolyn Blackburn. for the award of Doctor of Philosophy for a thesis entitled Breaking the Narrative, Addressing the Loss of Creativity in Secondary Key Stage 3 Art and Design Education in England, I present Dr. Victoria Kinsella. For the award of Doctor of Philosophy for a thesis entitled Skilling Them Softly, an analysis of the experience of unemployed adult learners who are enhancing their employment skills through a programme of study, I present Dr. Ivan John Wincup. I now invite Professor Kevin Mattinson to present the Masters Award holders.
Master of Arts in Education, Monica Anderson. Nadine Selina Cameron. Master of Education in Learning and Teaching in Higher Education, with distinction, Sonia Smith. Masters in Teaching and Learning, Nicola Michelle Cartin. Harvinder Kaur Gonya. Postgraduate Certificate in Learning and Teaching in Higher Education, Christopher John Bolton. Damienne Mary Clark. Tracy Goodyear. Selbin Kabote. Michael Mikluska. Stephen Vaskovich. Postgraduate Certificate in Learning and Teaching in Higher Education, Health and Social Care Teacher, Nadine Selle Proverbs. Philip Walsh. This concludes the presentation of Masters Awards from the School of Education.
I invite Joe Hill to the lectern to present the award holders from the postgraduate primary and early years programmes.
Postgraduate Certificate in Education in Early Years with Qualified Teacher Status, Nasheen Akhtar. Emma Ashby. Sabir Bashir. Alice Eleanor Bordley. Laura Jane Brampton. Vimbayanashi Chin Mbiri. Blessing Anne-Marie Ada David. Abida Kadiri. Laura Ann Kelly. Catherine Jane MacDonald. Rihanna Mia. Adele Leslie Morgan. Faye Murphy. Faye Louise Starkey. Sheikh Hazira Begum Tahir. Helen Zhang. Kerry Fionn Vincent. Sarah Elizabeth Ann Waters. Postgraduate Certificate in Education in Primary with Qualified Teacher Status, Anisha Ismail Ali. Jennifer Ann Arbuthnot. Joanne Archer. Kieran Audler. Christopher John Ball. Nicola Jane Beasley. Nicola Fiona Beattie. Layli Begum. Crystal Georgina Bonner. Vanessa Louise Bourne. Susanna Emily Brooke. Tara Cespedes. Roberta Suzanne Clifton. Gemma Louise Cunningham. James Lawrence David Curtis. Rebecca Louise Daly. Amandeep Dhaliwal. Daniel Dickinson. Muna Adolahe Deary. Maya Candice Kadiba Domini. Jennifer Rose Doyle. Anika Jane Duffield. Laura May Ellis. Lucy Jane Ouse. Vicky Faulkner. Irina Jamila Forrest. Leanne Frail. Jennifer Francis. Jenny Marie Gibson. Gemma Ann Gray. Catherine Ruth Griffin. Samantha Louise Griffin. Christopher Stephen Dennis Headley. Jade Alice Hopton. Laura Lee Ann Jackson. Rita Shemaine James. Rachel Louise Kearns. Faiza Mahmood Khan. Israth Jebin Khan. Laura Francis Knight. Isabel Felicity Julia Corden. Rosemary Ann Langford. Roshni Madlani. Aisha Malik. Emily Alice Mann. Kimberly Jane Martin. Jessica Megan Lehe Vesconte Masters. Rachel McCann. Kate McInerney. Janed Maboo. Natalie Morgan. Rebecca Jane Neville. Alexandra Claire Owens. Famina Patel. Fahima Patel. Jack Pierce Higginson. Matthew Luke Thomas Plant. Samaya Ezov Ravat. Estelle Claire Richards Hutchinson. Catherine Margaret Rinzik. Abdul Saeed. Nazima Sharif. Lauren Patricia Rebecca Smith. Sabahat Zohra. Akosha Tawan. Louise Clara Marie Testel. Tracy Ann Thomas. Nicola Jane Westwood. Rachel Whittaker. Natalie Charlotte Wilkins. Emma Louise Wilson. Janine Wright. Kate Young. Sidra Safar. Sabah Sahib. Postgraduate Certificate in Education Studies in Primary and Early Years, Mahboob Alam. Megan Kate Irving. Siobhan Newton. Catherine Preston. Rahila Sabor. Samantha Crystal Sethi. Rebecca Nirvana Kamari Saman. Postgraduate Certificate in Education in Primary and Early Years with Qualified Teacher Status, Carly Olivia Plant. Professional Graduate Certificate in Education in Primary and Early Years with Qualified Teacher Status, Mishba Kahil. Laura Joanne Murdoch. Razia Sultana Shabnam. This concludes the presentation of the PGCE Primary and Early Years Awards.
This completes the first presentation of awards to students from the School of Education.
We are this morning delighted to be conferring the award of Doctor of the University upon Ms. Salma Yaqub. I now call upon the University Orator to give the citation.
Chancellor, Lady Mayoress, Pro-Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, colleagues, graduands. Today we confer the degree of Honorary Doctor of Birmingham City University honoris causa on Salma Yaqub. Ladies and gentlemen, the forces that bring people into politics today may be very personal or very institutional. The history of our Prime Ministers, indeed the history of our current Prime Minister, tells of a process that might seem preordained. The so-called right school, the so-called right friends, the right university to study the right course, the right business to make the right money, to sustain you in politics, often ending somewhat to the right. There are other well-institutionalized paths that come of joining a union or being a local councillor. Now, this isn't to diminish the passion or the idealism of those concerned, but rather to say that they run on tracks laid down decades and in some cases centuries ago. But every now and then, a mould breaker comes along, someone for whom politics is not a matter of institutions, of well-trodden paths, or carefully devised career plans, but the result of plain, raw conviction. Such a person is our guest of honour today, Salma Yaqub. And the story of how she got into politics is a profoundly sobering one that goes something like this. It's late September 2001, about 2 weeks after 2 hijacked civil airliners fly into the World Trade Center. Political atmosphere is feverish. News stories count the dead, the armies mobilized, the disgraced names and faces of the murderers are on every TV channel. In the center of Birmingham, a woman born here to parents from Pakistan is minding her own business, walking through town as thousands do. She's highly educated, a graduate of Aston University in human and applied psychology. Like many Birmingham people, her head is covered, in this case a symbol of faith, which of course is not the same thing as identity, either cultural or personal. From nowhere, someone who has decided otherwise commits that worst playground insult and spits at her. Now, the victim of this mindless malice had lived in Birmingham all 30 years of her life. She's thought of it as a great place to be, the rich, multi-ethnic, tolerant community we hope we all inhabit. But this, where she thinks, is all this going to lead? Well, of course, tragically, we are only just starting to find out. For a shocked Salma Yaqub, that was one moment that triggered a radically different and deeply personal interest in politics. There were times then, you may remember, when a main party consensus treated the marginal voice as deviant. Salma Yaqub joined, led and subsequently left the Respect Party, which, like all political parties, she found sometimes struggled to live up to its name. She became a city councillor here in Birmingham, elected twice with large majorities. She led the Birmingham Stop the War Coalition and spoke for the Birmingham Central Mosque. But it is at best lazy and at worst pernicious to characterise her as that phantom of the popular news media, a representative of the Muslim community. She has shown herself to be, quite simply, an undaunted activist and indeed warrior for the underprivileged. Her working life now focuses on training and developing people to work successfully within organisations and to be at peace with themselves. We're proud to call her one of our own, thanks to her BCU diploma in integrative psychotherapy and counselling. As a psychotherapist and now senior manager in a mental health trust, she works to the principle that our success as people lies within, a necessary and powerful response and counterpart to the disasters that come of projecting hatred outwards. Salma Yaqub continues to be a vocal friend of the ostracised and a fearsome critic of the over-institutionalised. Witness her appearances on programmes such as Question Time, where she joyously wondered whether the term scrounger more accurately described people on state benefits or her colleague on the panel, a particularly well-fed-looking member of the cabinet who had just claimed £39 in breakfast expenses. The Daily Telegraph recently paid her the ultimate tribute of including her in its list of top 100 left-wingers. The word respect hovers over Salma Yaqub's career as a political organisation, but also as a mindset, more importantly, for dealing with yourself and with other people. It was a Jewish philosopher, Emmanuel Levinas, who defined the foundation of an ethical life as respect for other beings. Knowledge of the other, wrote Levinas, demands sympathy or love, ways of being that are different from impassive contemplation. Failures of that knowledge, Salma Yaqub bravely and daily reminds us, leave us wondering what sort of world we really live in, but hoping against hope for a better one. So there could be no more powerful example to stand before today's graduates as they enter their working lives, determined, we trust, to earn the respect of others and to return it to them with the generosity and compassion our troubled times demand. So Chancellor, Lady Mayoress, Pro-Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, colleagues, graduands, it gives me great pleasure to invite the Vice-Chancellor to present, for the degree of Honorary Doctor of Birmingham City University, honoris causa, Salma Yaqub.
Enjoy the applause. As Vice-Chancellor, I exercise the authority of the Academic Board and confer the award of Doctor of University Honoris Causa on Ms. Salma Yaqub. I invite the Chancellor to present the degree parchment and the commemorative medal. Well, that completes the conferment of the degree of Doctor of the University Honoris Causa, and I'm delighted that Salma will be addressing the congregation a little later in this morning's proceedings. But now we'll continue with Professor Ian Blair, who will present the award holders to the Chancellor of our students.
I invite Simon Spencer to the lectern to present the award holders from the postgraduate secondary and post-compulsory education programs.
Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Post-Compulsory. Robert Matthew Delahaye. Rubina Devi Pal. Marie-Louise Elwell. Lisa Rose Fitzpatrick. Louise Frost. Sasha Rose Kathleen Giles. Abigail Guy. Mark Ashley Alexander Harrison. Bushra Hussain. Alicia Islami. Shabina Ephraim Janjua. Becky Heather Kenny. Govina Kaur Kosa. Samira Sadiq Ahmed. Yasmin Akhtar. Selina Cassandra Annan. Shireen Ashraf. Saima Salim Aslam. Sophie Christina King. Adam Leeson. Claire Louise Beale. Jessica Ann Lynch. Kanval Mahmood. Daniel William Bellamy. Paul Gerard Mahon. Gavinan Kaur Mali. Kimberly Mallins. Emmeline Louise McAvoy. Aidan James Millward. Hannah Mary Laura Parry. Angela Ryan. Saima Tazim. Shah Mohammed Mohiuddin. Professional Graduate Certificate in Education in Post-Compulsory Education and Training. Paris Amber Dawkins. Vimal Visavedia. Postgraduate Certificate in Secondary Art and Design with Qualified Teacher Status. Stephanie Ball. Rebecca Jane Bibby. Mary Elizabeth Bidgood. Jennifer Jean Brownhill. Michael Christopher Donovan. Hannah Janet Laura Fletcher. Jade Hannah Goodwin. Rebecca Jolliffe. Nazreen Lakhar. Sophie Catherine Naylor. Charlotte Patton. Rakia Maksood Kazi. Also awarded the Anita Reardon Memorial Prize, Charlotte Smith. Jodie Lee Williams. Professional Graduate Certificate in Education in Secondary Art and Design with Qualified Teacher Status. Laura Leslie Davis. Bruce Fletcher. Morna Josephine Lockie. Holly Marie Palmer. Jessica Elizabeth Williams. Postgraduate Certificate in Education in Secondary Design and Technology with Qualified Teacher Status. Nicola Jane Guest. Professional Graduate Certificate in Education in Secondary Design and Technology with Qualified Teacher Status. Gemma Frances Johnson. Amy Louise Richardson. Postgraduate Certificate in Education in Secondary Drama with Qualified Teacher Status. Emmanuel David Avjian. Constance Alma Blake. Stacey Ann Brown. Jean Marie Gibbs. Nadia Cooey. Jasmine Alice Locke. Emma Jane Pearson. Esther Felicity Rye. Jodie Victoria Rayner. Lana Bell Robinson. Richard Wood. Postgraduate Certificate in Education in Secondary English with Qualified Teacher Status. Natasha Robinson. Gemma Denise Wood. Postgraduate Certificate in Education in Secondary Mathematics with Qualified Teacher Status. Aaron Bache. Leanne Brasker, Amina Butts, Srivalaska Vasi Dancharan, Ruma Begum Jamal, Sumaira Kauza, Shabana Nabi, Natalie Jane Pinnock, Jennifer Nicole Robinson, Lauren Eleanor Shakespeare, Professional Graduate Certificate in Education in Secondary Mathematics with Qualified Teacher Status, Akval Kaur Kera. Postgraduate Certificate in Education in Secondary Music with Qualified Teacher Status, Nazarene Billet. Amy Castles, Charlotte Ann Edwards, Simon Robert Goff, Louise Alice Govia, Luke Gareth Hall, Rachel Louise Harrison, David Paul Hughes, Nathan George Lewis, Joseph Robert Smith, Ruth Catherine Williams, Peter David Worrell, Professional Graduate Certificate in Education in Secondary Music with Qualified Teacher Status, Luke Donnelly, Wayne John Duffel, Paul Anthony Hannon, Hannah Madewell, Madeline Rachel Purchase, Lauren Smith, Postgraduate Certificate in Education in Secondary Science with Biology with Qualified Teacher Status, Thomas Richard Ian Mosley, Hasina Nizami, Postgraduate Certificate in Education in Secondary Science with Chemistry with Qualified Teacher Status, Robin Heather Gillard, Professional Graduate Certificate in Education in Secondary Science with Chemistry with Qualified Teacher Status, Fariel Bano, Professional Graduate Certificate in Education in Secondary Science with Chemistry with Qualified Teacher Status, Nahid Youssef, Professional Graduate Certificate in Education in Secondary Science with Physics with Qualified Teacher Status, Zoe Marina Millman, Jonathan David Scott Southam, in association with Arthur Terry Teaching School, Postgraduate Certificate in Education in Secondary with Qualified Teacher Status, Sarah Bauer, Isabel Lucy Emma Cafferty, Daniel Connolly, John Fennell, Anita Gura, Christopher Liam Hooper, Claire Louise Johnson, James Martin. Ian James Miller. Anthony Russell. Emma Saxon. Victoria Slay. Piara Singh Sawali. Rachel Valletta. Harriet Warren. Emma Elizabeth Wellings. Stephanie Danielle Yeomans. In association with Arthur Terry Teaching School, Professional Graduate Certificate in Education in Secondary with Qualified Teacher Status. Michelina Rampello. Christopher Watson. In association with Birmingham Primary Training Partnership, Postgraduate Certificate in Education in Primary Education with Qualified Teacher Status. Samantha Biddulph. Louise Bissaker. Natalie Netasir Rosina Chalmers. Hannah Louise Collinson. Kirsty Gardner. Stephen Hales. Daniel Stewart Hodgkinson. Lynn Mary Hughes. Safrina Preet Kaur Cayley. Danielle Marie Mellon. Meena Ravina Mataru. Ravinda, beg your pardon. Samina Nazam. Helen Margaret Paget. Roberta Isabel Alice Smith. Laura Stokes Roberts. Aaron Rizwan Ulak. Thomas Russell Walton. In association with the Titan Partnership, Postgraduate Certificate in Education in Secondary with Qualified Teacher Status. Gurjit Rupal. Omina Ubario. In association with the Titan Partnership, Professional Graduate Certificate in Education in Primary with Qualified Teacher Status. Pamela Monica Badhan. Sabrina Devi. Laurie Wilson. In association with the Titan Partnership, Professional Graduate Certificate in Education in Secondary with Qualified Teacher Status. Sinead Finnegan. Ridwan Khan. Paul McNally. Adam Shah. Rachel Stokely. Max William Tully. This concludes the presentation of PGCE award holders.
This completes the presentation of graduates from the School of Education. I now invite our honorary award recipient, Salma Yaqub, to address the congregation.
Chancellor, Lady Mayoress, Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, mums, dads, and of course, dear graduates. I'd like to start by expressing my genuine surprise, indeed astonishment, at being awarded this honour today. Thank you to all those involved in selecting me for this. It's difficult for me to put in words what it feels like right now. All I can say, Professor Roberts, is I really wish my dad was here, because that was like the best ever school report. My father passed away 2 months ago, and he would have been delighted to have been here. He was a headmaster in Pakistan, and he came to Birmingham and spent 25 years working in the Royal Mail here. And he always emphasised the importance of education to us being 7 kids. We grew up in Alum Rock, moved to King's Heath when my eldest sister got into grammar school, and he always said, the way to succeed is by education. When we were taught about religion in our household, what was emphasised to us was that the very first word of the Quran, which we believe is our holy book, the very first words revealed to our Prophet Muhammad was Iqra in Arabic, which means read. It wasn't pray, it wasn't fight, as you might be led to believe with current events, sadly. It was read. It's about reflecting, thinking. And my dad has been a real inspiration in my life. And it was, funny as it was also quite touching for me to hear that I'm considered one of your own. And some of the very things which I thought took me away from the mainstream because of the fact that I do unapologetically challenge and question, that here I am being very much acknowledged in that same mainstream. Because whilst my dad was very much read and educate, when I became active politically, not because I like politics or liked politics, but because I didn't like the politics around me, his advice at that time was actually, maybe it's best to stay quiet. He saw himself as a guest in this country. And when you're a guest in somebody's house, you have to be a bit extra polite. It's not your place to say how things should be in that household. And so it was out of concern for me. And so it wasn't always easy, this path, because it's normally, I suppose, customary to say, I couldn't have done it without my family. And in many ways, of course, that is very true. But in my own experience, I had to carry the fears and concerns of my family in everything that I did in my public role. And so that's another reason why I think it would have been so special for him to have been here today. On a happier note, for me, actually being here, witnessing and being part of your special day and the fact that it's a school of education does have that resonance for me. Because education, myself as a mother, I think my most important role when it comes to my children, who I've brought here because I want them to be inspired by what you have achieved today, is about expanding our minds and hearts. And you've had that facilitated for you by the staff here and the environment and the opportunities you've had in your studies. And now you have that very special role in inspiring all those who you will now be teaching. And if there is anything I'd like to impart to you, it's not only the positive things that I know you will bring to all those that you will touch. I have absolutely no doubts about that. But also remember, it's the things that we don't do that matter as well as that we do. So as well as the formal part, I'm sure like you and like myself, we always remember that teacher, not because maybe of the course content, but because of the way they saw us as an individual. And so I really hope that you will continue with that and have regard for the real power that you have. I know when you're studying and you're a student and all the challenges, you don't often feel very powerful, but actually you are, and you will be. And I hope that you cherish and respect that new power that you have as you go forwards from today. I have a special place in my heart for this university, not just because of the fact that I absolutely loved doing my postgrad here, but because the canteen was always better than any other canteen in the universities. And even whilst I was studying at Aston, I would always catch the number 33 down and meet up with my mates here because of the environment. You know, it's down to earth, it's friendly, and it allows people to be themselves. And you know, that's one of the things we pride ourselves in this country. You know, we always talk about multiculturalism, pluralism, freedom of speech, very pertinent right now. But for me, it's about allowing people to be who they are, and not just tolerating them, but liking them and accepting them. Not just despite the differences, but sometimes because of the differences. Whilst believing, and I 100% believe, that no matter what our apparent differences might be, the things that unite us are far, far greater than anything that could divide us. We all want to be loved. We all want to be respected. We all want to have the best for ourselves and our families. And I think that goes across all humanity. And if there's anything that has motivated me in my politics, it's that very simple idea that you can't have justice unless you have equality. And it's very difficult to have peace if you don't have justice. So for me, it's a simple equation. To have peace, you have to have justice. And to have justice, you need equality on a real, genuine basis. And whilst it's been lovely and a bit embarrassing to have the tribute today, I'd also like the opportunity to thank some very special people who've enabled me to do what I've done. So yes, my family, there was a lot of babysitting involved. The kids, you know, who are my passion. But I'd also like to pay tribute to my Irish atheist colleague, Jo Francis, who has been a real inspiration as well as partner in everything that I've done. And whilst there's a lot about faith and religion, and again, coming back to what I'm conveying, I hope, about the things that unite us being far greater than things that divide us, the notion that solidarity in of itself as a process as well as an outcome is so important. Because the strength that I've had in my journey is because of those bonds of solidarity, support, that commitment to those values, not by people who necessarily look like me or have my background. And indeed, one of the things I'm proud of are those huge anti-war marches. And the largest demonstration in this country was not about rights for people in this country, but was for people far away who are not represented by ethnicity or by faith here. But 2 million people marched because they felt something for people on the other side of the world and were prepared to stand up to our own government and say, not in my name. And whilst it did not stop that terrible war in Iraq, I know it gave comfort to those people, even the ones who were on the receiving end of that bombing, because I got those emails saying that we know that people in this country care. And that made a difference, because sometimes you may think, do words matter? You know, if you haven't got real power, do you have a role? Do you have a voice? And I'm here to say you do. Some things are not in your hands, but actually a lot are. And we all have the ability to impact on other people in a positive way. And sometimes when I think about all the things which are depressing, because there are, hope for me is the real prize. That's the thing that oppressors and tyrants and dictators and abusers in individual and social contexts want to take away from us. So always believe in yourself, even when you feel maybe doubts, and it's good sometimes to have doubts, otherwise we'd all be arrogant, and certitude and dogma is, I think, the enemy of free thinking and compassion. But don't ever think you're any less than anybody else, and that your contribution is not worthy as somebody who may have a special title or a job role. And it does make me angry that we live in a society where a person's worth is measured by how much their salary might look like and what their spending power might be. But as long as we're in that society, if there's a way to raise the standing of teachers in education, then I would advocate a pay rise for teachers and those who work in education, rather than another long list of government policies and dictates that we keep hearing. And I didn't want to get too overtly political, so I'll do the disclaimer. Anything that I say is not on behalf of the university. But whilst I feel this great sense of pride and hope looking at you, I do feel a little bit sad and angry, because me and a lot of the people on this stage here, we benefited from a free education system. It's something you probably can't even imagine now. It was only a few years ago that tuition fees were introduced. And I think debt is the modern form of slavery, because it does restrict your choices. It does restrict your freedoms. It's something which lessens your capacity to breathe. As a mother myself, I have one son at uni, and I hope the other kids will go, and my daughter-in-law actually will be studying in this very institution. So I'm passionate about people taking up those opportunities. But it's human beings who can inspire and claim their freedoms, but it's also the human beings who sometimes restrict. And it's right to question. It's not wrong. It's okay to. And in fact, if we don't question some of the very things that we value most, we would not have today if people before us hadn't questioned. I couldn't stand here as a woman had there not been strong women and those men who supported them in those struggles for decades, because nothing good happens overnight. The civil rights struggles, when it came to people championing the rights of people who perhaps are not white, didn't happen overnight. And sometimes when Muslims come to me and say it's terrible, all the pressures and how we're demonised and stereotyped, I say we can't take it personally. You know, the Jewish community have been through it, the horrors of the Holocaust, the Irish community right here in Birmingham following those awful pub bombings in the 70s. For 30 years, the Patrick's Parade didn't happen because of that stigma and that stereotyping and that fear and suspicion. But we have it now. It's come back. And times do move on. Not inevitably, because as we've seen in history, terrible things do happen. But I believe because good people do come together, black, white, Asian, men, women, believers, non-believers, people who stand up for each other. And so for me, education's great, but it's not that qualification. For me, it's the critical thinking that it allows and engenders. And I think some of the most important lessons are the ones that perhaps you learnt in your nursery school. And I hope that you hold on to that as you become these sophisticated adults. You know, things like fair, being fair, sharing. Don't take things that don't belong to you. Wash your hands before you eat. Stick together when you're crossing the road. Imagine if governments adhered by those things. We wouldn't have the climate change disaster. Clean up after yourself. You know, it's those simple things which sometimes get lost in the so-called adult and grown-up and sophisticated debates. But I think that some of the simple things are the most special and right things. So do enjoy your day. It's a special day. It's a day to celebrate, and it's important to take this time and celebrate. And it's great for your families, for your mum and dad, for all those people who supported you to be part of that. And it's a real privilege, an honour for me to have been part of your special day as well. Thank you so much.
Salma, thank you so much. I think, your words were powerful, they were heartfelt, and they were deeply embedded in your experience. We're very proud and privileged to have you as a member of the Birmingham City University community. And also your words were, I thought, terrific for graduates who are very much shaping people's lives, people who are teaching, who are influencing people's lives. So I hope you heed that advice as you all go forward. Just a few last words from me as well. I must say that you all looked absolutely fantastic as you crossed the stage. Really tremendous. Great to see your smiling faces. We feel very proud of you for your success, and we hope you'll go on to have great careers as well, as I'm sure many of you have already embarked upon. I've been sort of at various universities observing schools of education graduates for many years, and it seems for a change this year we have a few more guys entering the teaching profession, so that's good. So a bit of solidarity for the men going into teaching as well. Well done. And finally, I'd like now to introduce and to invite Robert Delahaye, who graduated from the PGCE Post-Compulsory Education programme this morning, for him to come up and say a few words to you all on behalf of you, our graduates. Robert.
Hello, my name is Robert Delahaye and I'm a graduate, as you know already, from the PGC Post-Compulsory Education programme. There are a whole host of people I would like to thank on behalf of the graduates and guests here today. I'd like to start by thanking the Chancellor. Thank you for taking time out of your demanding schedule to attend our ceremony today. We're grateful for the interest you've shown in our achievements and for helping to make this a truly memorable occasion for us all. I would like to thank our honorary doctorate recipient, Salma Yaqub, former Birmingham City Councillor and spokesperson for Birmingham Central Mosque, for sharing some of her thoughts and experiences with us. I'm sure she has given us some food for thought as we take the first steps in our respective careers. Our talented musicians from the Birmingham Conservatoire, directed by Professor Chris Halding, have helped create a wonderful atmosphere for our special day. Please join me in giving them a warm round of applause. During our studies, we've been helped along the way by a huge number of academic and support staff. Our sincere thanks go to you all for your guidance, expertise and enthusiasm. We must also, of course, recognise the encouragement and support that our family and friends have given us all in our student journey. So in a moment, I will ask you all to stand, turn around and join me in giving them a well-deserved round of applause. Please stand. Graduation is a celebration of our achievement and marks the beginning of an amazing journey. As we leave Birmingham City University and begin the next phase of our lives, I hope we will all take away not just academic excellence and real-world skills, but also many treasured memories, friendships and experiences. I send my warmest congratulations to everyone here and wish you all every success in your future careers. I should now like to invite the Chancellor to close the ceremony. Thank you.
I declare this congregation closed. We should be grateful if guests could stand while the stage procession and graduates now leave the hall. Thank you.
Thank you.